But let me give you a standard textbook definition of a bell curve. And I quote, a bell curve is a common type of distribution for a variable. In this case, we are looking at a 1 year return of BSE Sensex over the past 42 years. So what we have is the annualized return bracketed in various time range, various percentage ranges. Uh, the year are boxed in each of these boxes. So it's a very beautiful bell curve, and this is for, I am sure we don't have any HR personnel, otherwise they would love this kind of a slide. I have couple of takeaways from this, and I'm sure you also would have couple of takeaways from this. The average return over the 40 plus year history, and we have 42 years of data point right from 1979, the average equity market return is between 12.5 to 15%. The reason why I'm saying it's 12.5 to 15 because within my office we had some mathematics students who said that average is not the right one, median is the one. So I have tried to please both of them. So it suffices to say that we are in a double digit at 12.5 to about 15% return over the period of time. And honestly, this actually corroborates with what is there in my bell curve. The peak of the bell curve represents the highest frequency of the data out here. While there are years, and the second point that I would like to make is, while there are years when the returns are negative, which is on the left hand side, but what is important to note is the number of years that we've had in terms of the positive return is far higher than the negative return. Another point that I would like to impress upon you is the absolute return that we've also made during the absolute outperformance is far more than the negative returns. I would love to have your comments on this graph, maybe in the Q&A or when the audience question is there. In equity market, there's an old adage which says that the timing the market is not important as the time in the market. I'm sure you are all seasoned investors and know the importance of staying invested for long term. However, I'm still going to impress this point. What we have out here is a very busy slide. Uh, and every year when I update this slide, I'm really amazed by the consistency of the returns. Let me explain the slide to you first. The table captures the return for a calendar year over various time periods. How do you interpret it? The 11.9% return that you see on the top right hand side represents the return of Nifty over a 10-year period for the period ending 31st March December 22. Similarly, the figure of 4.3 at the bottom right hand side, just about the 10-year GSEC, represents the Nifty return on a 1-year period for the period ending 31st March 2022. So what we have is a period. On the y-axis, we have the number of years. So if you look at it horizontally, that's the time period in which the Nifty is given a return. The table has been color coded. The red represents the negative return. The light green highlights the return of Nifty in the years in which it has not beaten the inflation during that time period. The dark green represents positive return beating the inflation. One obvious observation is that in the long run, equities have generated wealth by beating inflation consistently. So the one which you see on the top right hand side corner is the one that you should be focusing. It has consistently beaten out there. The second key point that I would like to make is as you go up, as the number of years increases, the volatility reduces if you stay invested for a longer period of time. If I had invested only for 1 year time period, every year for the last 10 years, the chances that you would have made a return which could range from, that's the horizontal line at 1 year, from minus 4%, that's in the year 2015, to as much as 31% in the year 2014. That's a wide range of about 35%. Let's look at if you had invested for 10 years and stayed there, the return range would vary from 5.5% to close to about 18.4%. The actual range is only about 13%. Thus, for achieving one's financial goals with a higher degree of certainty, one needs to stay invested for a longer period of time.